tired. This is gonna be one of those streams where I'm just gonna be real punchy, and it has nothing to do with the juice. It has everything to do with me just having 5 hours of sleep the last 3 nights straight. How about you? Having
How are you
five
doing,
hours
sir?
of sleep?
What did you say?
How are you doing, sir?
I'm. It was funny. Like I was testing the audio. We are good on audio, by the way. But
Oh, fantastic.
but it was like, how are you doing on 5 hours of sleep? Like you said, how are you doing? And then the audio that was delayed said 5 hours of sleep. And I was like, I think I had more
Nice.
than that. But I'm doing good. A little tired. I've kicked the, what do you want to call it? Working out slash attempting to get back into something resembling halfway decent shape into the next level. So today was gym, then I go for a little hike, then I went and played
Nice.
golf. So
Ooh, that's an that's a very extraneous day.
yes, arguably the whitest of days. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but
Yeah, went to the gym, then I went for a hike, then I crafted a headband out of bamboo reeds, then I surfed, then I played golf. I was like, wow, you couldn't be whiter. Good God, sir.
Lewis Hamilton apparently big surfer.
Yeah, I've seen that actually, but that does not surprise me. He seems like a very he's very competitive, obviously for 7-time F1 world champion, but he seems like a chill guy. Like he
Yeah.
seems at least as he's gotten older, he definitely seems like more of like a chill dude.
Well, you can. So this isn't what's on the topic list, but you can tell when he speaks or he kind of. I mean, obviously he's living the jet like the multi-millionaire life, right? Like just
Yeah, yeah, of course.
look at the Halloween costumes he shows up to races in. But you can
Well,
tell
yeah,
that he was raised blue collar, um, and not didn't come from money. Whereas when you hear Max speak, it's
Mhm.
like, man, this guy was definitely being a complete asshole to the servants in his house at like 11.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with his dad, who is also a complete asshole. And I
Right,
think his
but
dad basically was like, "You need to be like this, Max, or you're an absolute failure."
well,
I think,
well, it's just one of those things of coming from money or what have you, as
yeah,
opposed to coming from like having money, but you came from not having it. Like
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
that mindset of, I have some perspective of the working class, where
yeah.
Max is
Max
like,
is not.
the silver spoon isn't polished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vic, to answer your question, well, Greg already did in chat, but regular golf. I actually, prior to last year, uh, about 15 months ago, I spent 15 years roughly in the golf industry, working at a course, working and retail before that. So very much a lot of golf. But hello, everyone. Welcome
Hello.
to the Shifting Lanes podcast. Thanks for tuning in to whatever platform you're viewing this on. Don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe, and all that fun jazz that if I don't say, the YouTube police scold me. But no, we have a pretty good show today. We're going to make each other rank things blindly. Should be a lot of fun. And
Oh
just
yeah.
general automotive commentary, things like that. Joining me, as always, is the one, the only, the Gregson, whose prancing moose badge fell off his Volvo, apparently.
Yeah, I was gonna say we start today's stream with very sad news. The one on this side is gone. Though you can kind of see without the zoom in, there's a little like black circle there. That's where the adhesive still was. All of the white patch around that little black like half circle or three-quarter circle was where the adhesive had come off. And basically it was just doing this on the highway. So it was only a matter of time until it fell off. And now it's gone. And my car feels naked. I need to get two more. I need to get two more badges because, as awesome as they are from our buddies over at Swedish Boost Mafia over in the UK, They, domed stickers don't really hold up well, over the course of 4 years. So they lasted about 3 years. They were a little cracked and weathered, but I mean, for what they are, for 3 years, for like a $10 set of stickers, pretty damn good. Got to be honest. So
Now you
I'm
just got to
gonna.
put the Hellwinkle sticker on one side.
No, that's for everyone else to have. Those are for everyone. I got shifting lanes over here. I got the Sunday Motor Co. hat and the Sunday Motor Co. on the other window. That's what I do, and then I'll get the
Ooh,
the moose
better
badges
yet, we
eventually.
just get a bunch of them and we just put them all over your car.
I
Like
mean,
all of them.
they would stay there. I'm too lazy. I would never take them off.
I'm going to do
They
that to
would
the
just be
roof of
like,
your car.
they
Kind of like
would
how.
just be there.
Yes. F chat. Yes. Fortunately, um, the Mustang is
Fortunately,
completely registered. We did talk about it a little bit last night, but the absurdity of literally just showing up with the same paperwork and it working never ceases to.
yes, you have a car and it's legal finally, which is
But it
again,
was
it's
legal the
hilarious.
8 days prior I went to it. I just
I
happened to get.
know we seem to have really bad luck with the DMV slash MVC slash
Yeah, it's.
whatever you call it in your state. Um, I mean, most of you that are watching probably know the story, but I had a Volvo V70R that was labeled as junk. Chad had issues with the C30 and this Mustang. I think Hanson had issues with his S60R. Um, I mean, shifting lanes, I feel like, is cursed at at the TMV. Freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's. I
And
just. I
apparently, I
don't.
sound like I'm in a small closet.
Um, Greg sounds like he's in a small closet or something. I mean,
I'm not. I promise.
there's not much I can do about that.
I'm saying there is a thing on
There's
my
not much I
mic.
can do about that.
I'm saying there is a thing on my mic. Directional or something? There we go. I'm saying what's the directional setting? Because there's like
Um,
4 settings on this thing.
where is it? So
Please
there should.
hold. Please hold.
So there should
I'm
be
on the one that
one.
looks like Pac-Man.
It should be Pac-Man, and at least mine's set on Pac-Man facing. I can't even see what the fourth one is, but yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2 circles next to each other like this.
Yeah,
Then there's
that's for.
Pac-Man,
That'd be
and
like
there's a
if we were
circle,
standing
and
next
then
to
there's
each other.
circles interjoining.
Yeah. So,
So
Pac-Man
I'm on
should.
Pac-Man.
You sound fine to me. I just think Anthony's had a little too much pre-July 4th mead. And we have the legend Elliott in chat. Both Elliots, I think. Elliott
Yes.
Alvis here. If you remember, you might remember him from such Shifting Lanes Garage podcast as the 4 hour and 15-minute marathon last week.
Oh man, yeah, I saw. It was funny. I couldn't make last week. I was on vacation with the family in Wildwood, New Jersey, and I tuned in for like 10 minutes because I was just beat from the day that I had, and I signed off, and then I looked at the Facebook page the next day, and I'm like, there's no way. It's like 4 hours and 30 minutes. Lo and behold, 4 hours and 30 minutes. You guys were like absolute champs. So podcasting hats off to you both. That's pretty epic. Um I've gotten halfway through it. I need to watch the rest of it. Oh man.
About halfway through the list, and I look at the live timer, and I'm like, that says 2 hours. Oh no.
Yeah.
No, Elliot. It was definitely a good one. It was a lot of fun. I gotta say, hats off to all these fucking streamers who do 6, 8, 9, 10 hour streams.
By themselves, by the way.
Yeah.
Like you had another person, and Elliott had another person. You guys were talking to each other. These streamers do it on their own. And like, granted, like I know a lot of streamers game, and that takes up some time. Like, sure, you're on stream, you're gaming. That could be 2, 3, 4 hours on its own if you're trying to grind to get stuff done, right? But like then when they're done gaming, they talk to chat for like 2 and 3 and 4 hours, and I'm like, I'm the same thing as you. Like, how do they do this? But I guess they have the time because that's their job.
Also, I think it. I mean,
Sometimes.
we have a great crew of like loyal viewers and things
Yeah,
of that nature. Um,
yeah.
Great group of guys and everything. But imagine having that multiplied by like 100. So like,
Mm-hmm.
and chat's just going zzz, like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's impossible to keep up with that shit. It's crazy.
you know.
Uh, well, I mean, so in the theme of this, what you guys did was you guys were doing tier lists of Corvettes, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna do something a little similar this week, and it's not tier lists per se, even though I keep saying that in both chat in my chat as well as me literally physically talking to him. What we're doing is we're doing ranking lists this week, and the ranking list is basically like 1 through 5. The other person is blind, doesn't know what the other person is gonna say. Like we could do, top 5 fruits, and I'm
Clay
saying this to
Aiken.
Chad, and he doesn't know. No, demonetized. Um, but I could be like, okay, you have to rank these in order from number 1 being best and number 5 being worst, and it could be like strawberry. Oh, I put that at 3. Banana. Oh, that's goated. I did put that at number 1, and then blueberry number 5. Dragon fruit. No, like then but he doesn't know what's coming next. I have the list, but we have it for each other. So we're doing that for different things. Obviously, we're not doing top 5 fruits. We're doing automotive stuff. So that's sort of how it's going to work. Um, since you have 3, potentially 4 lists, do you want to go first? Because I have 2 lists.
So let's just go me, you, me, then maybe me again.
Okay,
So, all right.
that
Now,
works.
and start wipe. Now, before we do this, because you get us in full screen today, chat. Enjoy it.
Ooh,
There we go.
why is that, Chad?
Why? Because, well, we have been doing or when I say we, I mean mostly Greg. No, I'm kidding. Almost entirely me. Has been cutting down even our 2-hour streams into short form stuff is like a 6-hour endeavor. Like just rewatching it, finding the moments,
Because you got to go through the
cutting.
whole thing.
Yeah. So like, I'll put it to you this way: and when you see like a 10-minute video on YouTube, it takes roughly us about 2 to 3 hours to edit that entire thing. So, and a lot of that is just scrubbing through a lot of the footage. So for me at least, a lot of the times it's like for every 15 minutes of actual footage I have, usually about 1 to 3 minutes of that actually makes it into the final version.
Right.
Um,
So, but the whole
so
point of these lists is basically like to Steve. So to answer your question, Steve goes, I completely ADHD'd out. As someone with ADD, totally feel you, brother.
wait,
What
what?
are we doing? So yeah, exactly. We are doing ranking lists. So automotive themed, 1 through 5. The whole game is to nail it. Be like 1 is the best, 5 is the worst. And the game is to nail it. What you think should be the 1 through 5, and everyone to agree with you. Um, my example was like fruits, and I have the list of fruits. Chad is guessing; he doesn't know what's coming, and I could be like strawberry, what's that? Banana, what's that? Blueberry, what's that? So you just rank them, and if everyone agrees with you, then basically you win the round. Essentially, that's the game. So,
Well, it's more or less
um,
like for me, it's like getting to that last one and being
right,
forced to put it in a spot where it's like, crap,
yes,
I didn't want to put it there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. All right, so Chad has three, potentially four of these. I have two. So we're gonna start with Chad. Chad's gonna do the list, and I'm going to put them in the ranking order.
oh,
And then we'll swap back and forth a couple times.
already, Greg,
Oh,
rank the
hi, me. I'm here.
Greg, rank these five racetracks.
Ooh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, okay. We're already. I'm already scared.
Number one,
Yes.
Daytona.
That's number one. You have to give me that as number one. Two.
Alrighty. Why?
Why?
Yeah, just give a quick. Why
I
is
mean,
it?
it's steeped in
Explain your reasoning.
history. Steeped in history, not just for NASCAR, but also sports car. It's got 24 hours. It's one of the most prestigious racetracks in the world, whether people like to think so or not. I mean, it really is. Like Daytona 500 is the Super Bowl of one of the largest motorsports in the world. Daytona 24 Hours is one of the most grueling races in the world.
It's a triple
It's
crown endurance
right,
race.
right. It's a triple crown endurance race. Like a lot of people, like I feel like Daytona is very underrated a lot of the time when people talk about tracks, and people sort of gravitate to some of the really good stuff. Like, and I mean really good, like like Monaco and that kind of like Daytona is up there as a top 10 track in the entire world, in my opinion, for sure.
For me, it's one of those things where you have multiple racing series that race there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the number one race in both series, both
Right.
of which are completely different. You have NASCAR and you have IMSA, and
Right.
it's still a prestigious. What the hell, Greg? You still there, buddy? Yay, we lost Greg. Everybody say yay! Fuck. Alrighty, we're gonna get Greg to read. All right, hold on. Let me get Gregson back. Wow, never a dull moment. Always technical issues here at Shifting Lanes and things we don't do. Can you hear me, Gregson? Great, I can't hear you. Go to the DMs. Yeah, exactly, Vic. Yay, fuck. Um, yeah. Just go to DMs, Greg. Oh wait, might get DMCA'd for that. Alrighty. Where is Skype? There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, I should have seen this coming because of last week. Because yeah, I don't know what it is. Streamlabs has these new things, and they work great right up until the moment that they don't. So I think we have the arrival of an incoming Gregson.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Great. Alrighty.
Where is my video? What is happening? What? What? Did my webcam die?
I don't know. Going to
Hang on.
settings.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Whoa, why do I have 8 webcams? That's not correct.
It is because you have NDI tools on your. Adding.
There we go.
All right, there we
I
go.
have arrived.
Yes, you have. And
Hooray!
everyone, say hi to Greg if you can hear him. Holla if you hear me.
Hooray!
Alrighty. Let's see here. Speakers, we're gonna mute you. Alrighty.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Unfortunately, yes.
There's a giant moth. There's a giant moth in my garage. I'm gonna get him to try to land on me. We'll get back to the tier list or god damn it, ranking list in just a minute. See, I did it. I already did it. There's 2 giant moths in my garage now. Sweet.
Aura.com/shifting lanes.
Oh man, it's so funny.
Hey, you're not real.
Oh my god. I'm dead. I'm absolutely dead. That is hysterical.
What's that?
Oh, I'm laughing so hard. Like the comedy of errors. My computer like shits itself. Then my webcam goes crazy, and then your phone rings. Just what a sequence. I mean, that's a short form blooper in itself, right there. That whole sequence. Just like Benny Hill music playing in the background. Oh, hey, there's one of my bug friends. Get out of here. Ah! All right. Anyway, back to the tier. Son of a bitch. Son of an actual bitch.
Okay. Do you have Daytona?
Back to the
you have
rankings.
Daytona ranked number 2.
Yes.
The second option
Tracks.
is
Mm-hmm.
Laguna Seca.
Ooh. So this is also difficult because I know you and I know racetracks and I know that there's good ones on there and I know you've picked at least one shitty one. So I know you've picked one bad one at least. So I'm gonna put Laguna Seca at 4.
Really? I figured you'd have that higher with your desire to be a Californian.
But I used to live in California, and from when I was 1.5 years old to 4.5 years old, it was wonderful. Now I might change my opinion.
No, you locked it in. You're stuck.
But Laguna Seca, great track. Love playing it. One of my favorite tracks ever to race on any racing game. However, it doesn't have the pedigree of a lot of other tracks, and I don't think it has the pedigree of other tracks on your list.
Interesting. A thought he may learn to regret, chat. Alrighty. Your third option, COTA, Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, that one I'll put COTA at 3.
Really? You have COTA?
I think COTA is a yes. I like COTA as a track better than Laguna Seca. It's better laid out. It is a much more interesting track. It is a better overall track, and I just think it's a much cooler track too. I like Laguna Seca. Don't get me wrong, but like COTA is one of the premier tracks in the United States.
Greg likes Herman Tilke tracks. You heard it here first, chat. The next option, Watkins Glen.
Yes. Oh crap. Oh, no. It's all right. So I'm sensing the theme. I'm sensing the theme. Now I'm trying to think of what other American tracks are out there. My guess is your last one is going to be either Sebring or Lime Rock. So I'm gonna put. Man, I'll put the Glen at 1 because I have a lot of history there. I love Watkins Glen. It's a cool track. It hosts
basically everything. It's hosted Formula One, it's hosted NASCAR, it's hosted everything throughout the years. It's a cool area. I love the area. I'll put the Glen at 1 over the others just because I've been there and it's just a cool track. I love the Glen.
Interesting. I mean, NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, sports car racing.
It's got a lot, honestly.
It has a whiff of old school European track, but done in an American way because obviously,
Yes.
we race NASCAR there.
Yeah.
And I loved your
man, here we
reasoning
go.
for that last one because the last one is Indianapolis, which you have to put at 5.
No! Can I switch
No.
those two?
No.
Damn it. All right, well, Indy's at 5. Well, crap.
The American race that is part of the, what is it, the Grand Slam of motorsport or the Triple Crown
Yeah.
of motorsport, Le Mans, Monaco, and the Indy 500.
No, it's... Wait, is that the Triple Crown?
Yeah, I know those 3 are in it.
Oh, no, it is. You're right. It's Indy, it's Monaco, it's Le Mans. That's the
all
3.
within a week of each other, which is crazy. But
Yeah. I didn't think you'd have Indy on the list, honestly. I think I was trying to think because you put Daytona there, Indy wouldn't be. That was my guess.
I mean,
yeah, Steve's right. Indy should be 1. I mean, it should be, but that's the wheel of rankings. It doesn't work out that way.
That's the risk you take.
Well, I definitely lost that round by a wide margin because 5 should have been 1 and 1 should have been 5.
I like how you have Watkins Glen, you put it at number 1, and now you're saying it should be number 5.
Well, yeah, because Indy is the last
Right, but
one.
that would mean that Watkins Glen would go
be
to number
honest.
2, and you'd have Watkins Glen 2, Coda 3 or 4, Laguna 5.
Well, no, if I could redo the list, Glenn would be 5.
So how did?
I'd put-
well, you had an option of 1 and 5, so that's where you had to put it.
Right, exactly. That would be that's what would happen if I could swap the last 2. That's what I would do, but can't do it. Oh well.
That is a victory.
Nice. That was a good list. That was a victory for Chad, I'd say. That was good. That was nice.
All right. What is your list?
All right. So I now have a list for you, sir, and it is going to be best tire manufacturers. Because this is interesting because a lot of people don't know a lot of tire manufacturers. But we have driven on a lot of different tires through press cars, through press events, owning cars, buying God knows how many sets of tires for our own things. So I'm going to start off with a tried and true tire, Goodyear.
Goodyear. So we all know Goodyear, American company.
Yep.
The tire of NASCAR, the tire of, I believe, the GT classes at Le Mans.
Yep.
An absolute icon. However, assuming I kind of have an idea of where you're going to go with some of these, I'm going to have to put it at 3 in the middle.
Ooh. Interesting.
Just because there are other manufacturers that I do think do tires better. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to put, I have R888Rs on my car. Whereas the Eagle 1, great tire from Goodyear, but it's not going to... But as an overall brand, they're better. No, number 3, Goodyear.
Okay.
They're good, but they're not the best.
Interesting. Okay. Solid choice. Okay. Second one on the list of best tire manufacturers, and this is opinion, best tire manufacturers. Next on the list, Pirelli. Oh my God, really?
Here's the thing with Pirelli.
They are the manufacturer of what?
Yes.
What racing series?
I believe it's the hand-cooked 24-hour series.
No, it's a
It's
letter number combo single in each of those categories.
Yes, Pirelli is the tire manufacturer of Formula One, but no, Formula One does not make the best tires in motorsport anymore. Because
Interesting.
if they did, you might see a pit stop in Formula One. There'd be no strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Formula One has deliberately handcuffed Pirelli and said, "No, we want you to make a soft tire that grips really, really well for like 4.5 laps, maybe, and then it's shit. Then we want you to make this compound, which grips a little less but lasts a little longer, and so on and so on until you get to hard tires. They're not built
Right.
to be the best tire that lasts the longest, while also providing the most amount of grip during that. And
Right.
not for nothing, that tech transfer isn't as high as most people think going to the street cars. Because again, street cars, you're not going to go out and get a tire that grips for 1,000 miles and use it on the street and then it goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
All right.
like the
All
P
right.
Zeros and all the top flight. Now look, are Pirellis on some of the world's most insane hypercars? Yes. Is that specially developed for said car, like pretty much every other manufacturer on this list? Also, yes. However, if you go into any forum, let's say it's a Volvo forum, it's a Mustang forum, it's a Jaguar forum, and you're asking people to pick their best tire, Pirelli's not gonna be extremely high on that list. Because from my experience and from the experience of others, their highest performing tires are something of inconsistent. There's an inconsistency there. So
Okay. Okay. I mean, look, that's solid reasoning. I will not argue with you there. But we'll see if that comes back to bite you in the proverbial tuchus
I mean,
later in the list.
yes, did I do that just for the memes? A little bit, maybe, because I got a feeling you're gonna have something like Achilles or like some, Wuhan Smoky Boy tire on here. But
Next up, Ling Long. No.
but just to put a bow on it, in my opinion, Pirelli overrated.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. All right. So we have Goodyear at 3, Pirelli at 5. Okay. Next up, I would say is Continental.
So
The Continental.
yes, the old classic.
Yes, that was an SNL shout out from
Oh,
Christopher
I
Walken.
thought you were
just so
making
know.
a John Wick reference. I was like, may I suggest
Oh, no,
a
no, no.
classic, the Benelli M4.
No, it's the Christopher Walken. Wow, wow, wowie, wow, wow, wow from Saturday Night Live. Absolute classic.
So if you look across the board, now I will admit that I have not looked at when it comes to like everyday street tires that you're going to throw on, say, your wife's car or my mom's car or what have you. Most of these tires, once you get to a certain name brand, they're going to do the job, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do the job. But when you get to the high performance tires and you look at a lot of the so when you get to high performance tires and you look at a lot of the rankings, you go on like a tire rack where they do all the rankings for wet, dry, high performance, all this other sort of stuff. You go and you watch independent tests on YouTube, which I admittedly have done. Hashtag car guy life. But Continental comes out on top a lot. So I'm going to put them at 1.
Yeah, they do. They make a good tire. They really do.
Continental number 1, which should bring a smile to Steve's face.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Steve and chat was like, I'm just gonna say it. Continental's number 1 for me. Interesting. Continental at 1. Okay.
I know you're a fanboy of the French.
Which is the next one? That is the next. The fourth one on my list was Michelin.
Yeah, I'll put them at 2. Look, Michelin makes a great
Okay.
wide range of tires. If you going back to your motorsport thing, they are the tire of the top class at Le Mans, and they are double, sometimes triple stinting these tires, which means that one set of tires is lasting longer, like significantly longer, and providing optimal performance than an entire Formula One race. So if you figure a 45-minute
Okay.
stint, even if you double stint it, that's a Formula One race on one set of tires, and the drop-off isn't that severe.
true. True, true, true. Um, and Elliott in chat, Michelin Pilot Sport Cups. I mean, that is a that right there is a 4-word sentence that is hard to argue against as possibly the best tires on the face of the planet. Um, Pilot Sport anything is basically the only thing I will run on my car as far as summer tires go. They are they are arguably the best all around tire you can possibly purchase. So they're good. I mean, I can't argue with them at 2. It's my guess is you would have them at 1 or 2 just because they're a great manufacturer and they make good
I mean,
tires.
there's a
Period.
reason why.
Um,
There's a reason why every single sport, like pretty much every single sports car, supercar, hypercar, comes on Michelin's from factory.
right. Yep. There's a reason for that. Just so you know. Okay,
Yes,
so number
corporate
5.
boardroom deals.
Brrr.
Never do that again, please.
Ling Long. No. No, and this is why I thought Pirelli being at 5 would come back to bite you in the ass because my number 5 or my 5th in my list is Dunlop.
I honestly don't have a lot of experience with Dunlop, but I may be wrong for this, but I believe
I do.
Dunlop's. I mean, look, is Dunlop one of the recommended tires if you go and you look for tires that offer grip and all this other sort of stuff? I also thought you might have done Mickey Thompson on this list too, just because of the drag racing.
I was thinking either Mickey Thompson or BF Goodrich just to throw like a total crazy wrench, but I wanted to keep it at least to something you could put on your car. Like at least there's the
You
theme.
can put Mickey Thompsons on your car. They make street tires.
Yes, but I'm talking like a normal car. And I know Mickey Thompson makes normal tires, but like initially I had like Nokian, but like nobody knows who Nokian is. Um, I know who Nokian is. You know who Nokian is. They make arguably the best winter tire on earth. And their summers ain't bad either. But like nobody knows that. Like these are 5 companies that people like. You hear the name, like people would know these tire manufacturers. Like even like a casual car fan or someone that it walks into a car shop and be like, oh, I know that Dunlop. They make tennis balls too. Like they would actually like know what the hell the brand name is. You know?
Right. So, look, by process of elimination, I think they have to go. They go at 4, which is 1 peg above Pirelli, which in a perfect world I would flip flop.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say
But
there is in
just a base
no
Google search,
universe
they're
are
apparently owned
Dunlops
by
better than Pirellis
they're
ever.
apparently owned by Sumitomo now, which again, those are one of those tire manufacturers that are like big in drifting. Here's a top tip: you destroy tires in drifting. You don't need a lot of grip in well, you need grip on the front tires, but you could compound that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Dunlop.
Yeah.
Well, actually, here's a case for Dunlop being above Pirelli. Show me the Pirelli curve at Le Mans.
Yeah, I mean,
But
sure.
as far
I
as
get it.
as
But
far as
that's
something I
also
would
bought
put
and
on,
paid
as far
for.
as something I would put on my car, no. I mean, that's where it bit me, but it didn't. Opposite ends of the list bite me. So
Yeah.
let me put it to you this
No,
way:
I would say
Continental, Michelin, Goodyear, all 3 manufacturers I would consider putting on my cars. And then there's obviously I have Toyo, Bridgestone, the guys over in chat, Nittos. I would go through those tires before I would get to, a Dunlop or a Pirelli. So, just for if you ask me, am I putting this on the Mustang? Those 2 happen to be ones that I'm like, I mean, if they're free, I'll gladly put them on there and, smoke show. But
yeah. Yeah. I had this as Michelin 1, Continental 2, Pirelli 3, Goodyear 4, Dunlop 5.
which isn't absolutely wrong. But let me put it to you this. But let me put it to you this way: apart from 4, 5, my top 3 would be Continental, Michelin, Goodyear. Just because,
Yeah.
again, I've heard so many stories about people having great Pirellis, and so many people having Pirellis that I don't know if they sat in
Yeah.
a warehouse too long or whatever the deal was.
Yes.
They just
I'm that person.
didn't,
I've had both of those.
so
Yeah. Yeah. But I say, if we're comparing those two rounds, you would definitely won that round. But I still don't think you technically like would win because I don't think I don't think your list was 100% accurate compared to what everyone else would say.
I
So I'll still give you the point for
I
that.
beat you, so victory.
That's all that matters.
All right.
Okay. Next list. I'm excited for my epic wrongness on this one.
Gregson, blindly rank these 5 hot hatchbacks. Your first option, Focus RS. The most recent one, the one we actually got here in the United States.
Okay, that was gonna be my question. Like, which one? There's a lot of them.
For the sake of this list, so I don't have to keep explaining it, every single one of these, I want you to think of the most recent model.
Okay. So I have to take a step back and think of this like a little bit objectively.
Objectively?
Objectively.
I objectionably.
Objectively. Man, words are hard. I cannot words. So I have to think of this differently because objectively is too hard a word for me to say right now. Because I've driven the Focus RS and I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's a great car, but I personally don't like it. There are at least 4 or 5 other hot hatchbacks that I would buy over it. From a newest generation standpoint, that's a bit harder because it's really good. Yeah, I'll put it at 3. I'll put it at 3.
Okay.
I'll put it at 3. I'm confident with that choice. It's a solid car. We get the baseline. We get the foundation. Hit me with number 2. Let's go. Chad, very enthralled by his own list, yawning.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about the Focus RS. Everything about it is it's pretty dang good. The biggest letdown for that is just how fantastically awful all EcoBoosts sound, specifically the 4-cylinder.
Yes, man, if that car had a 5-cylinder in it, number 1 forever.
And speaking of 5 cylinders, subtract
C30.
No. Subtract 2. The second option, GR Corolla.
Ooh, interesting. GR Corolla. I don't have any experience with the car. Most people have said it's really good. Our own Hanson Luckman has said it's an excellent car, has driven it, has been on a ride along with Ryan Turek, by the way, which is pretty freaking fantastic. So it's a really good car. But there's a lot of really good hot hatches out there. Would I put it above a Focus RS? I think it's too new to put above an RS. I'll put it at 4.
Wow.
I don't think it does not have the pedigree yet. It's a cool car. 3-cylinder, very unique. Love that it's continuing the hot hatch bloodline, but I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's cool car, but I don't think it's there yet.
Interesting. Counterpoint, that little 3-cylinder is proving to be one of the best
monster.
engines of the modern era.
Yeah.
The amount of power you can get out of these things, you can get there. I did a reel on this. You get 1,000 horsepower to the crank out of that, and they're what, 1.6 liters.
That's like Christian von Koenigsegg TFG 3-cylinder like levels of engineering, getting 1,000 horsepower to that thing. Like,
I mean,
that's crazy.
It's sleeves, pistons, rods, crank.
But still, like,
I mean,
it's modified, but like 3 cylinders and 1,000 horsepower, wild.
Keith goes, the RS is a hot hatch. Did it make the list?
Ooh. I mean, hatchback could mean technically the Audi RS7 is a hatchback. It's got a hatch.
I mean, there are so many fucking sport coupes that you could say that about.
I know. But this is hot hatch. This is clearly a category of car. It's not TTRS. It's not RS7 kind of thing. All right. Number 3. Hit me. I'm interested.
The Hyundai Veloster N. A car Hanson, our third member, actually owns.
True. 5. While it is a cool car, if we're talking about hot hatches for newest generation and lineage, the Veloster does not have a good lineage. It's a cool car. What just happened?
I forgot I have.
Resizing?
Yeah.
No, whatever. I will start that again. If we're talking about hot hatches and most recent generation, it's a very cool car. It's not as cool as the Focus RS, and it's not as cool as a GR Corolla, I would say, for those things. It's also, I'd say, not as good a car. It is a good car, though. So me putting it at 5, don't think it's bad. It's definitely a good car. I've driven it. It sounds great. Very cool looking. It doesn't have the lineage, and it doesn't have like the wow factor like GR Corolla does, and so does the Focus RS. So I'm very confident with that. I'm confident with that choice. That one at 5, I'm good with. I'm good with it.
Alrighty. Volkswagen Golf R.
So this. I knew this one was going to be on the list. It was either this or the GTI, and maybe you put both on them just to screw with me. But, God, the Golf R is such a good car. It really is. I've driven it on track. It's so good. But the most recent generation isn't that good. It's good, but the previous generation is better, and almost every single person that drives the new one versus the old one agrees with that. I would say, man, there's a case for it being number 1. Honestly, it's a great hot hatch. It really is. But the newest generation gives me pause, just because it's not the greatest out there right now. But then I'm gonna get stuck with number 1. Whatever the hell's the last thing. That's the thing. As we know from the last round, that totally screwed me. So,
which is why I'm shocked you gave 5 away so early. Like,
man, I can also see you putting like the fucking Renault Megane on this and just being like, haha, here's your number 1.
I'll give you a little glimpse into all of my lists.
No,
nothing French will ever go on any list I ever make.
Okay, excellent. Except for Le Mans. I would say Le Mans. But I knew the racetrack one was clearly American.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. But if we're talking about like overall tracks, like Le Mans has to be on there, or else your list is completely fucking invalid. So I don't know if there's like a generationally great hot hatch in a sense that everyone would be like, man, yeah, what a terrible decision. So I will put, once I resize, I will put the Golf R at number 1 because it is a really, really good hot hatch, and I think it's better than everything else on the list so far without knowing the last one.
Alrighty, so this one so for your last one for this list, the top 5 hot hatches ranked by Gregson Matte,
which will be number 2.
Blindly. I really wanted to fuck with you on this one. Like, I really wanted to mess with you and throw in like the
GTI
Mini Cooper or like a Focus ST or like a 2002 Focus ZX3. Like,
that'd be such a dick move.
I really wanted to do. I wanted to have a twist in all of them, but I didn't want you to start expecting the twist. So your last car, which is number 2, is the Honda Civic Type R.
Oh, I was gonna say CTI. Look, I'm actually. Wait, where'd you go?
Continue.
Look, I'm actually happy with that at number 2. I would, if between the two, I would take the Golf R over the CTR. There have been 2 cars that I've ever driven that are total mind Fs, that they don't seem like they should be doing things that they do. One of them is the Mustang GT350R. The other one is the CTR. the Civic Type R is one of those cars where it shouldn't do what you think it's doing because of how good the torque vectoring is. It doesn't feel like a front-wheel drive car unless you really, really push it. However, an all-wheel drive Golf R will always beat a CTR for me. It might not on a track. It might not for everyone else's opinion. I am actually extremely happy with this list. And I think I've absolutely freaking nailed it for who or for which car should be in which position. I love the CTR, both the generations that we've got, the last one, which I've driven, and the new one, which I haven't driven. The new one looks amazing. It's a fantastic performer. I think the Golf R is a better hot hatch, and I think someone in chat mentioned it too. Like VW is like the origination of the hot hatch, so I'm cool with VW being number one, Golf R being number one, CTR, Focus RS, and then what was 4 and 5 again? I know 5 was the Veloster N, and
Veloster
4 was the GR Corolla. I'm cool with that. Maybe the only thing I'd swap is the Focus RS and the GR Corolla, but I'm very happy. I'm stoked on this list. I think I freaking nailed it, honestly.
All right, so allow me, if you will, a few moments to explain just how wrong you are. Volkswagen Golf R.
For me, I nailed this list.
Yes. Unfortunately, we live in a... Fortunately, this is mine, and only mine. Number 1, Golf R, overpriced for the performance it delivers. Number 2, Civic Type R. While the new one does look a lot better, I'd much rather the Integra Type S. Number 3, the Focus RS. Performance-wise, very good. Also drives very similarly to a more neutral or rear-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system due to the way they overdrive the rear end and everything like that. Sounds awful, but from a driving experience, it has that more neutrality than some of the other cars on this list. GR Corolla, easily the best one of the bunch, just because, yes, the Corolla, no heritage. GR Yaris, kicking ass everywhere else in the world, and they're effectively the same car. Just the Corolla's a smidge heavier. And then the Veloster N. Look, the Veloster N is a great car. It has a lot of that appeal to the younger buyer because it's the least expensive of any of the other cars on this list. It provides it provides 95% of the thrills, but as an out-and-out performer and stylistically, it's not my favorite. But let me put it to you this way: as a pandering to everyone else's train of thinking, you probably got this list as most journalists would have it. But that just makes you unoriginal.
I don't care about being unoriginal. I care about winning. Let's go. Also, no offense, Hanson.
You best believe when I make this reel, I'm sending it to Hanson.
Of course you are. I mean, of course you are. I mean, I would too. Why not?
And I'm just gonna cut.
And again,
I'm just gonna cut up your words.
I wouldn't say that
to just make
I don't think the Veloster N's a bad car. It's just like there are better cars on this list.
I'm just gonna cut up all of the things you've ever said on any of these podcasts. It's just the Veloster N is a heaping pile of shit.
You're like doing the newspaper clipping thing, but it's just me saying like the Veloster N is awful. I hate Hanson. Fuck.
Hanson was drunk when he bought it. Gregson Mate, July 3rd.
It's hilarious.
No, I mean, I would say you did better on that list.
I think I nailed that one.
You did better on that list than you did the previous list.
Yes, 100%, because Indianapolis being at 5 was a total boner. Screw that. Yes. Hey, Elliott, we got 2 Elliots in chat. Let's go. First chat in recorded history with 2 Elliots in chat, guaranteed.
Elliots are 1/6 of our viewers right now.
That is correct. Okay. Next list with the drum roll. Most reliable car brands.
Exciting.
Yes, but there are a lot of car brands.
Yes.
And I like to screw with you. So this list is going to be fun.
We've reached the lightning round, folks.
We have reached the lightning round. Okay. Starting off with something that's Very, very interesting.
Probably not.
Honda. Which is weird because it's a good car brand.
I mean, I have not heard any horror stories about Honda in quite a bit. Sadly, though, they power the Red Bull Formula One team.
Which is the most reliable Formula One team on the earth for the last like 3 years, by the way.
Yes, but I mega loathe them. So, keeping.
Yes, but this is reliable car brands, not reliable Formula One brands.
I mean, you say potato, I hear potato. No, look, Honda.
Dun 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 dun. Max Verstappen. Dun 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 dun. Also, I'm not a Max.
Don't worry, Chad. Greg is now muted. Look,
What are you? What are you? What are you, Max Kellerman? Just
I need those.
freaking-
I need a button
Yeah,
that mutes
you need
you.
the mute
It has
button.
a mute icon that comes. Oh, I can make this happen. Oh, next
Yeah,
week
you
is gonna
could.
be fun.
We should get like 5 people on, and it'd just be a giant. What is the name of that show?
Pardon the interruption. No,
No, that's Kornheiser and
no,
Wilbon.
it's shit.
Yeah, I can't remember the name
I
of the
used to
show.
watch it
It's
every
such a
day.
good show.
PN show with
Roundtable.
Around the Horn.
Around the Horn. Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, we need. Yeah, Elliott Manning. Thank you. Around the Horn. We got to do an all. We got to do a panel of like Around the Horn style. I think that'd be awesome. Anyway, sorry. Honda.
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be in my own eye, which I mean, here's the thing. Hondas, they're I mean, frankly, apart from the Type R, they really didn't dive into too many exciting things, which means but they still sold the crap out of their stuff, which means people are buying them for basically reliable. I mean,
Right.
reliability. So I'm just gonna say I can't think of another brand that you're gonna bring up. So Honda, number one.
Ooh, mama, starting out hot. Number one, Honda. I mean, look, I can't argue with that choice. Honda's. I mean, quite frankly, there's only a handful. If they are on the list, that would be above them. So, I can't argue with that choice. Number two, Citroen.
French 5.
I knew that was gonna be 5. Oh
You cannot,
man. Well,
from a reliability,
that was an easy
from
one.
a reliability standpoint, I cannot take you seriously if you literally drop your oil pan anytime a German car comes near you. 5. And I will not hate
so
them.
good. Oh man, that's good. I like that.
French will always
Okay.
be at the bottom.
So,
You should have saved that for last, so it didn't guarantee its place at number 5. Just saying.
well, there's a reason why I didn't save it for last. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, third on the list. So we have 1 and 5 already done.
Yeah.
The exciting numbers are gone. Now it's just whoever's in the fucking middle. Oh man. Third on the list, Subaru. Which is great because you just gave Citroen
No.
number
Subaru
5.
always ahead of literally anything French. Literally. I don't care. Anything French.
Oh man, this is great.
I understand how xenophobic that might make me look, but we're talking about a Japanese car brand. Look, I mean, you want to talk about ringlands, you can talk about head gaskets, you could talk about Hansen having to replace the engine in his BRZ, you could talk about all that other sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's the reason why I put it on the list with Citroen.
However,
Or Citroen, if you really want to do a stupid pronunciation thing. But we're in America, so it's Citroen. Or sorry, we're in the UK. Citroen. We're in America, it's Citroen. Because we got to pronounce those letters. You got to phonetically get it right. It's Citroen. Because America. Yes, go. Words.
All right, Subaru. But here's the thing: you also cannot deny that the let's just put it. How do I put this kindly? So on the one end of Subaru, you have the monster guzzling, vape pen inhaling WRX STI crowd. On arguably the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have the macro making their own things, great outdoors. Probably if they were alive in the 60s, would have absolutely been, right next to the VW buses, the at Woodstock.
Eating all of the granola.
Yes, we'll just say it. On the other end of the spectrum, you have outdoorsy granola enthusiasts. And they seem to get to where they want to go, which usually is relatively remote, thank God, without much issue. So, just because I'm pretty sure you have a another hot take in here, I'll put them.
Wild card.
Yes, I will put them third.
Ooh, all right. Interesting.
And I mean, 20% of them has to be mildly reliable, as it's owned by Toyota.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. So then we have Honda at 1.
Yep.
Citroen at 5.
God intended.
Subaru at 3.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Here's where the wrenches start to get thrown into your plan. Aston Martin.
I mean, let's face it. You owned one. How many issues did you
I did.
have?
Big old goose egg.
Look, is anything British and sporty? No, I won't even say that. Is anything British a byproduct for reliability? Probably not.
Most of the time, no. But I put this brand on the list because it is the exception, and it's the exception. Because most British stuff, fantastically unreliable over the course of history.
But
Aston Martin, however,
let's look
is
at
the exception to that rule.
Let's look at the recent history of Aston Martin. Number 1, Fomoco company, literally having Volvo parts on them. And I'm not saying Volvo is a byproduct for reliability, but there's not a lot of horror stories with Volvo reliability. And you have Ford.
Sure.
Then,
and look. Also, you can say what you want about Ford. Ford's a fairly reliable company. There are certain models that are total dog shit.
Once they iron out those,
but
once they get those recalls to like 1 per day as opposed to like 17, but at least they're taking care of it.
Right.
Then, I don't know if they went straight to this or they had a period. I think they had a period of like doing their own thing, but they were just basically remaking all the stuff from the Fomoco era. Today, when it comes to mechanical components, they're effectively a Mercedes.
True. They borrow, I'd say probably 60 to 70% of the components
engines,
from Mercedes.
Transmissions, differentials,
yeah,
ECU tuning,
it's a lot.
Stuff like that.
It's a lot.
So, look, just because you added an S to this is where the wrenches get thrown in. I believe when it all is, I'm going to sit here and call it right now. I believe when all is said and done, I'm going to wish I put them 4. But because I think you have it, I would rather have them ranked a little too high than have a wrench ranked a little too low. So I'm going to put them at 2.
Okay. You're going to put them at 2? You put Aston Martin at 2? Holy crap. Okay. All right. So I'm so excited for this one. Oh man, this is the one that I was more excited about than the stupid tire manufacturer one. All right, so we got number 1 Honda, number 2 Aston Martin, number 3 Subaru, 4 blank, which is going to be the last one, yes, and 5 Citroen. The last one, unfortunately for you, is Lexus. And that's a brutal blow because that should have been number one, and it definitely should have been number two out of these last two.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. And it
Yeah.
is number
It
4.
has to be your number 4, unfortunately.
Look, there's no denying that Lexus is pretty phenomenally reliable.
It is the number 1 most reliable brand for basically the last 20 years, period.
You know, there's no denying it, but I mean, look, you made this list about reliability.
Oh,
I
man.
can't help but think about it like, all right, reliability, but would I mean, I can't even go with that because Honda's on the list, and there's not really a
Well,
Honda made right now.
But
that I
that's the
want.
reason why I did this, because Honda
Look,
and
I will,
Lexus
I
are
will
like,
admit
they're both
I will
Japanese,
admit,
they're both
I will
very
admit,
reliable.
You got me on that one. Bravo. This list is
Yeah,
still better
let's go.
than your hot hatch list. No, I'm kidding. No, well done, sir. Tip of the cap to you. Yeah, but
Let's go.
like I was saying, I can't help but look at this and be like, how much pain am I willing to endure to own, say, cars like this, right?
Oh, totally.
But like even my list doesn't reflect that. But I mean, let's face it, if I happen to own an Aston Martin, I'm okay with it. Because outside of Lexus does make a couple interesting vehicles at the moment, but from a purely performance standpoint, either way, reliability, there's no trumping Lexus. They just do it better than everyone else. Well done, sir. Now,
Let's go.
on to the 5th one. And this one could quite possibly bring you quite a bit of pain. Which is why I brought it. And because you are, without question or shadow of a doubt, the number one. If Daily Driven Exotics is the number one Lamborghini ambassador on the internet, you, sir, are the number one Volvo ambassador on the internet.
It's Volvo themed. Yeah,
So
let's
we are
do this.
going to-
Number 1 pick, Volvo V60 Polestar. End list. There's no other list. Go. Done.
That actually.
That's the end of the list. 1 through 5.
I mean,
All generations of V60. The end.
but Gregson, rank the top 5 Volvos blindly.
Ooh. So wait. Is it? So I need a bit of context. Rank them in order of which I would buy them. In order of which they are like the best Volvos. Like give me a little bit of like.
Well, here's the thing. How do
specificity.
you separate the best Volvo from ones you would buy? If you're going to buy one, you want the one you would buy. Therefore, in your opinion, it is the best. If it's not the case,
All right.
No, here's the thing.
So which Volvo would I buy? Period.
Yes, any Volvo.
As me, a person.
As you, a person, would you like? How would you buy these?
Okay.
Just
Not thinking like a consumer.
no,
Thinking like
no,
me,
no.
a Gregson.
No, these are your own personal list. This is
Okay,
you personally.
cool. Got it.
So
Got it.
we are gonna.
You made the list with me in mind.
No, I just want you to pick them, and put them, rank them. I want because you are Mr.
Okay.
Volvo on the internet. I've
All
heard
right.
Doug
All right.
say it in a lot of the forums he's in, but
Oh, that's very it's very complimentary. I'm honored.
I mean it was literally the
honored.
foundation on which shifting lanes was built.
Accurate. It's pretty accurate.
And we have no Volvo content anymore. But
I actually had that conversation with Aaron earlier.
it's like this is working incredibly well. Okay, let's go do something else. But
Let's change everything.
again, Gregson, rank your top 5 Volvos blindly. The first car on the list is a 240 Turbo.
Ooh, that's a good ass car.
And arguably the thing people think of most when they picture Volvo in their head.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like when they think of Volvo, it's a big brick, and it's a 240. The thing that put Volvo on the map is literally the 240. I mean, but here's the thing: it's me. It's a me list. If I'm buying it, I mean, a 240 turbo, very hard to argue against that. I will put that at number two. It's a good car. It is
I mean,
going to last till the end of
I
time.
mean, here's the thing though. Of any Volvo, the only Volvo you've bought twice was in the 240 series.
Just gonna say, I do own two of them, so yeah.
Okay.
It has to be at least number one or number two. So I'll put it at two just to see what else is on the list. So maybe to have a wild card at number one.
You know, let's see. We'll
Yeah.
tune in. Will Greg regret this decision? Tune in roughly 2 to 3 minutes to find out.
Now. And roughly
No,
right
I
now,
don't.
as we're doing it.
Honestly, with this next one, I don't think you're regretting that choice. Because the next
okay.
one, because the next one is weird. My phone made it sound. The next car on the list is the C30.
I'm not regretting that choice. C30 is a great car. Really is. Drove yours. It's a cool platform. It's basically a Focus RS.
ST.
Or Focus. Oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't have a Focus RS. So it was, at the time, the Focus RS/ST
Well, the
of what we had.
Well, not to get too pedantic, but this is a Volvo topic. I get to go, ha to Gregson on. The C30 was basically an ST under the underpinnings because it had the smaller turbo and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Same basic engine, but the RS got the K16, or as opposed to the KO4 or KO6, I forget. But it had the smaller turbo. But the Volvo C30, I mean, let me put it to you this way. I loved my Volvo C30. It was a fun car to have while I had it. If it didn't have these little niggly issues popping up every now and again, I may have kept it longer. I may have,
Yeah.
but
I mean, there are worse Volvos, but it's not the worst Volvo. Like, there are other Volvos that are just like, that's... It's an interesting topic because when you think of Volvos as a whole, you're just like, what's the bad Volvo? And you're like, there's really not a ton of them, honestly. There's a lot of Volvos have a lot of redeeming qualities. It's not like you're going to be like, all right, rank your top 5 Fiats. It was like, well, all of them are 5. Every one of them. Except for the Abarth. That one can be 4. Other than that, like, it's like, when you think of like that in that context, like, there's not many good ones. In the Volvo sense, like, what are the bad ones? There's not a lot of bad ones, right? So just trying to play the game, I'll put it at 4. I like the C30. It's a cool platform. I love the design. I would definitely own one in certain circumstances, but it's not something that I would go out and be like, yeah, I'm going to go get a C30 right away, right now. There are just other Volvos that I'd rather buy over it. So I'll put it at 4, and I'm confident in that decision.
Alrighty. I'm not really going to take too much offense to that. Just simply, let me put it this way. The C30 was a great car. I will remember the people I met because of that car more than the car itself. I don't know if that's
it was
just
a
because
great
of how
gateway drug into the best car community on the internet.
I don't know if necessarily like I don't know if that's just a byproduct of just how memorable and rowdy the 2 cars that succeeded it, were. But
Totally hear you.
good car.
Good car. Again, and just because it's at 4 doesn't mean it's a bad car.
But so, number 3, the third option here is the Amazon, and in whatever guise you would buy it. So whether it be wagon, coupe, sedan, the Amazon.
Oh, that's well, shit. I mean, so for those of you that don't know that are watching, the Amazon is a older model 60s era kind of Volvo that is in that era of the end of pure design, right? You think of like the 60s as the end of automotive pure design. The 70s really brought in, or at least were the beginnings of like safety. And with safety came good things like people not dying. Um, but it was also the end of make whatever the hell car you want because you can design it however the hell you wanted. And the Amazon, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful Volvos. Like it's like P1800, Amazon are like the top two. They're just gorgeous. Like you can say the Duet is up there too, but like to me it's P1800 and Amazon, and it's always a toss up. Those two are just gorgeous as far as design is concerned. The Amazon wagon is a dream car for me because I've always wanted to have an Amazon wagon with some form of like cool modern engine, whether that be like a white block 5-cylinder, a 4.4 Yamaha out of an S80, uh, a Volvo, an LS, a Coyote, like something cool and modern. I mean, screw it, toss a V10 Lamborghini engine in it. Why not? Because you can. This is fantasy land. But man, Amazon. I mean, for me, if I'm going to buy it, I'd put it at one, just because the Amazon wagon, the 122, like, is it? I don't know. It's a good question. Is it a 124? I think it's a 122. But the whole Amazon wagon, for me, is an ultimate dream car. Whether it be clean with resto modding, like that is a dream vehicle for me. So I would put that at number one for sure. You are muted, sir.
I figured you might.
I knew you. There's some sort of wrench-ish thing happening. I can tell it's coming, but I'm happy with that choice because for me, if I'm gonna
Yes,
go out and buy
it's
it,
the
that's me.
it's
That's
one
my
of
number one.
those. It's one of those cars that was built in the classic era of design, when you could design something
Yeah,
to be beautiful
that's the thing.
without it, without any, you know, you didn't have to have the bumper X high. You didn't have to have the headlights at this height. You didn't have to. There was no restriction. It was free design, and cars from that era will always be among the most beautiful cars ever made.
100%.
So
It is really beautiful, and it's like I'd say it's one of those cars. It like even the coupe and the 4-door and the wagon, all of them. I honestly think it's a very underrated platform overall for resto modding and for those that like cool old cars. Because you always think of the muscle car era, right? And you think of lowriders and 69 Camaros and all that, like Le Mans, like all of those cool cars. The Volvo Amazon is one of the most beautiful designed cars I personally think ever. The proportions are great. The round headlights, like if you don't know, go look at Adam Nonus's. I think he calls it headquarters. It's the name of the car. It's literally a body of a Volvo Amazon plopped on an E30 platform. It is so cool. But just that body is just so
but
perfect. There's
what if you had to
so
live with
few other wagons that are well
what
done.
if you had to live with it, with the engine that it came from Sweden with?
Oh, that's a different story.
Here's the thing. I Let me put it this way. For me, it's very much the same. And God willing, one day we'll get to a classic car build off where we get to build these cars from yesteryear any way we want.
Yes.
But I'm very
Keep
much
playing
the
that
same
lottery.
way
Let's
with
go.
the Datsun 510. Those original
Yes.
engines,
And I agree with that totally. It's so good.
you can throw like side draft carburetor. You can do a lot to them, but they'll never make a ass ton of power. Not that you wanted a ton of power in that, but like you're never gonna make 250 horsepower, maybe. And with that build, I'd want 300 plus. So, continuing with the list of top 5 Volvos that Greg is ranking blindly,
Yes.
the V70R.
Oh man, I'll put that at 3. I would probably wish I could swap the 240. Well, though, which V70R?
The one you
The
had.
P80 generation or the one that I
The
owned?
one you owned.
Oh, the one I owned. All right. Well, yeah, 3 for sure. Because you specified that, I sort of wish I could swap 2 and 3, but I've already made my bed
Yep.
there. So personally, I love the P2 generation of V70R. I think it's one of the coolest wagons of all time.
Yes.
It makes one of the coolest noises of all time, which we can both agree on. We know that. It is awesome. However, it is a money pit. It really is. They are money pit cars. They were well made, but weren't well made in certain aspects that make them money pits. So I'm actually totally okay making that as a number 3.
Okay. So,
I'm totally okay with that.
number 5, and you heard it here first, Greg, the Volvo that Greg thinks is arguably the worst of all time.
The worst. Oh no, because I only have 5 left.
You only have
Wait.
5 left, and
So wait, which one? So hang on. What Volvo could you possibly be thinking of that is gonna make this just the worst decision of my life? I'm trying to think of like what could be out there that is just like, man, you made the worst call. And it's one of 2 cars, I think. It's probably either the S80 V8 because it has the V8 and it's a cool freaking engine, or it's the 850R.
interesting. It's the P1800.
Oh no! Damn it. Well, I mean, look, I'll make a case for that being number 5.
No,
Everything above it is a better overall car. Period. Wagons, more utilitarian. Hatchbacks, more utilitarian, a lot more fun.
really
1800
stretching now, buddy. Keep going.
I'm really trying to stretch it here. I am pulling the shoestring as long as it can possibly freaking go. Look, P1800 is what probably put Volvo on the map as a manufacturer other than the 240. If you're ranking Volvo importance, it is 240 number 1 and P1800 number 2. The end. So, look, I'm not going to say it's the best list because of that last one, but I can make a case for it at least. Am I happy with that decision? Probably not now. But it is probably the most beautiful Volvo ever made.
Okay, so I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, hand on heart, being arguably the most honest I've ever been with you, at least on stream.
Ooh. Oh.
I think
What?
I think as you have them ranked, as you have them 1 through 5, meaning Amazon 1, 240, Turbo 2, V70R 3, C34, and P1800 5, that is exactly correct.
What? Get
That
outta
is
here.
exactly. I knew
No
it would irk you
way.
to have the P1800 that low down. I knew it would irk you, but I gotta be it.
No way.
Get ready, chat, because it's gonna
I'm
this
shocked.
gonna knock your socks off. If I could
Nailed
put the
it. Let's
P1800 6, I would. I'm just not a fan.
Really?
You say it's arguably the most beautiful Volvo
Interesting.
ever made. To me, it just doesn't do anything for me. It's too much.
What would then you say is the most beautiful Volvo
It's-
ever made?
Pick an Amazon with either the coupe or the wagon.
Interesting.
Um,
Interesting. Okay.
followed very, very closely by like an 850R, because that to me is like peak boxy Volvo. If people think Volvos
Yeah.
were designed with Etch-a-Sketch, and the 850 is the peak of it, and let's face it, it was a race car.
Yeah, I was gonna say British touring car. You cannot argue with the pedigree of the 850.
But I didn't
You
want to
really
like
can't.
make like a list of like these, like, and then you look at like, I mean, you could do it, but like, I wanted to have one of the cars you've owned. No, you've owned two on this list, but well, three technically
Yeah,
because
true.
you've owned one twice. Actually, no, four times because you've owned the V70R twice, and you've currently
Yep.
owned two 240s. So,
Yep. Accurate.
it's a lot like the Mustang in that respect. But no, I mean, for me, I love this list because like the Amazon, let's face it, put like you don't have to put anything crazy in it. You could, but like a pissed off LS3 making over 500 would be perfect in that car. Or
Yeah.
just to make sure Doug doesn't throw his coffee at whatever device he's watching at this. Um, a built small block Ford, or even a white block for that matter. A pissed
Yeah.
off white block making about the same power and stuff like that. I do think that high pitched V10 in mono sound might not fit the classic 60s or whatever styling of the Amazon. So I'd want something with a little more rumble. But no, I mean, that is
Yeah.
such a beautiful car. I think you're done right and lowered like yours was. The V70R is a very good looking car. I think the C30s,
Yeah.
especially in facelift trim, look really, really good. No, I mean, like I said, I completely agree with this list, even if this list may have caused you some form of agita.
Yeah, a little bit. And you know what? An underrated swap for the Amazon, and you probably won't agree with this, um, but I think based on power output and sound, I think an S62 out of an E39 M5 would fit that car almost perfectly because it's naturally aspirated, V8, 394 horsepower, sounds epic. Yes, you could have it built to make it like more reliable, whatever. But I feel like 400 is like the pinnacle for that platform as far as horsepower is concerned. Um, I feel like that would be really cool. But yeah, dude, I am stoked. I think that might be the best list I will ever do. And I've peaked early
Yes.
and we're done.
No, there's two more. I just decided. Or no, there's one.
Nice.
There's
Well,
actually one more
before you
that's near and dear to your heart.
before you get into that,
But
let's catch up with chat because there's been so many comments.
Yes.
And I will be
yes. All right. So, going back. Anthony, I love my M66 C30. It is a ridiculously fun little car. The power potential is absolutely there. They're unique. 5-cylinder. People don't see them. They were in Twilight, so strike against it there. But the C30s are great. Let me put it to you this way: it's on the list of. Let me think here for a second. It's definitely on the top 5 cars if I hit the lottery that builds I would be doing, without question or a shadow of a doubt. It's just a really cool car, and it's for my money. When we were thinking about doing another Volvo on the channel, the C30 was the obvious choice for me, simply because we had the 5-cylinder wagon, and I've always had a thing for hot hatches, and it had focus connections, which connected me to my first car. So, something harassed the skunk last night. I'm not scrolling up higher. When we were talking about bad Volvos, Anthony goes anything with a PRV V6 under the hood. Sean defended it apparently. Volvo had a truck with a flat plane crank carved V8 in the 50s or 60s because of course they did. So did Sherman's during World War II. They had a flat plane Ford V8. Sean goes, when we were talking about the Amazon, that it isn't heavy. Newsflash, cars from that era generally aren't, especially cars from Europe. Even the big, even some, not the big American boats, but even things like, your Falcons, your original Chevy 2s, those things aren't as heavy as people think they are. Just because they're thinking old cars, old steel, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but they didn't have to be fitted with all the technology in the world and all the safety equipment in the world. Basically, they were like, nope, you have steel. Steel is safe. You're fine. And that's kind of how it went. Vic goes, haha, got him. Yep. Anthony, the 850R, puts Volvo on the map as far as performance name. I will default to you guys on that opinion. I remember first seeing Volvo's race in the World Challenge Series with the S60s. The wide body S60 race things. They were just absolutely insane vehicles. World Challenge cars. Like I remember looking at those and being like, "Holy shit, I want one. How do I get one of these cars?" Because it looks so cool, and then you you end up seeing the real life, and you're like, man, that was one of the first things when that was one of the first moments I realized that things look better wide bodied. That was arguably the genesis of that. But I mean, yeah, all of these pictures suck. I don't know why. But it was Greg's generation of S60 race car done by K-Pax. That was just... They looked so good. And they were racing against Vipers and Cadillac CTSVs and all these other things. And they were one of the best teams. It was such a cool car. But I know like the 850R in wagon form raced, in wagon and sedan form. The 240 race. Let's see here. The S740 is more square, Sean says, when I was saying like 850s look good because they're that boxy Volvo. I would tend to agree with you. I just personally think the 850s look better. It's just my personal... On those cars, that's... nothing against the 740s or whatever. It's just one of those things. You probably think certain other ones look better, so on and so forth. That's why car things is great, because you can like the look of one car, I can like the look of the other. We can disagree with it, but we can both get along. Imagine that. Sean goes, also Volvo themselves never raced an 850, but did race the 242. Absolutely. That when Volvo goes racing, it is awesome because they don't have to win to create spectacle. The 240, that thing's built like a brick. It will never do well in motorsport, but it won races and it won touring car races. I've always like, see, it just is what it is. Let's see here. Where'd I leave off? Doug goes, I was hoping you'd put the Aussie manual Polestar on the list for an unexpected pick. Gotta be honest, like I told you in chat, didn't even know that was a thing until you mentioned it. Let's face it. Aussie, I gotta look that up. Aussie. What is it? I was hoping you put the Aussie manual Polestar on the list for another. I don't even know which Polestar you're referring. That's how much I don't know about that car, Doug. Let me put it this way. Manuals make cars just fun. Hansen was just over in Europe. He got some Volkswagen, not quite a hatchback, not quite a crossover thing. Had a manual. You can have fun with it. Autos, you have to try a little harder. And even then, it might not even be possible. Sean, back to the 240s. Volvo branded 242 turbo in like 83, 84 and shat on everyone. Yeah, like I said, those 240s, pretty dang good. in motorsport. And this was before the what's the best way to put it? Before balance of performance, or before they actively were trying to condense the performance of all of these cars. Because they didn't really, I mean, IMSA has torque sensors, has throttle sensors, throttle blade sensors. So they know if someone's on a straightaway, if they're full chat or not. And then they BOP the cars. And if they are, and they tell them, oh, you can only have this much output to the axle, which I don't agree with, honestly. But you're capped on how much power you can put to the wheels, which is the one thing in sports car racing I do not agree with at the moment. Because I don't like this notion of not driving your car as fast as it can be, or in a manner that is designed to get you to win the race, right? Like the way that Formula One is today with managing tires, the way that they're not driving as fast as they can. They're driving to a delta of, okay, how do we do X lap times over this amount of laps for this car? And they're just driving to that delta. And I don't like that. I like guys going balls out as fast as they can, or within reason. And, yeah. At any rate, last but Sean goes, I still want a BMW DCT swap Timmy. Interesting. And now Greg.
I'm with it because BMW DCT is good. Are you gone, or are you just making a joke of me being here?
I may or may not be here.
Ooh, I'm a ghost.
But real quick, guys, I need everyone in chat to let me know they're paying attention, whether it be a thumbs up or a RIP Greg's Moose sticker, something. Everyone, if you're watching, type something in the chat. I don't care what it is, but I need everyone to let me know that you are in fact paying attention. So what I'm going to say is mild. Actually, it is important, and it's something I want to shout out. And this. So we have Doug. Keith is back in chat. I know you all are out there. Is there anybody out there? I swear I'm not drunk, high, or otherwise under the influence of any substance.
No, you're just a big Floyd fan. It's all good.
I really am not. That's the thing. I
like Floyd. I respect him. It's a good ass
got
band.
Doug, Sean,
I'm with
Elliott, Keith, all making themselves known. Anthony, holla if you hear me. But
I'll let you, boy.
Kind of keep things moving along. One of our esteemed viewers has started his own YouTube channel. That is Keith in Facebook. He's been watching all evening. He started his first his first YouTube channel. It's called Wheels with a Z and Whiskey. His first,
which is just the best name. Let's be honest.
Yes, I honestly think you should throw in a 60-second review of the whiskey you're drinking while you do these listicles.
Yes.
At the beginning of every one.
Yes.
It's a
good suggestion.
I tell you that because I have a buddy of mine who is very knowledgeable about whiskey, but he's effectively a sommelier when it comes to wines. Very knowledgeable about wines. He is also, I think, a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you don't know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, how you hand out belts is not like karate at the Y, where like a 16-year-old can end up with a black belt. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it takes a fuck ton of time, literal competition, all this stuff to get black belt, and you cannot reach master unless you've trained in like actual Brazil with a Gracie approved trainer. But so I've mentioned this guy before. I've been after him for years now to make a channel called Wine Jitsu, where he literally does wine reviews in a gi.
Oh, oh my God, that would slay. The short form content on that would be unbelievable.
Exactly. So I love this concept of mixing whiskey with wheels, as long as
Yes.
you're just doing the whole garage thing of talking about it and not actually being behind the wheel of anything. Let's just make
Yes.
that abundantly clear.
Disclaimer: we do not
Algorithm slash YouTube slash
advocate
Facebook
for
slash whoever else is
driving.
listening, overlords.
Exactly.
But it's a really cool spin. And his first video is out. It is the top 5 cars, in his opinion, under $10,000. It is for a first hell, even for like a 500th effort. It is exceptionally well done.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I agree. And Keith, it's Keith Sweeney Swindle in chat on Facebook if you're watching. But it's also on screen on YouTube, so please go sub there. I'm gonna go watch it after stream. The rest of it, I commented on the video, Keith, just so you know. The first 3 minutes of this video, and Chad said this too, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but this is Chad's opinion that I'm also saying because I agree with this. This is probably the best first YouTube video on a channel I've ever seen.
100%.
From editing to production to presentation to hosting. I'm not even kidding, and I'm not trying to just blow smoke up your butt, Keith. Like, honestly, it's really fucking good, dude. It really is. I'm not trying to like say, "Oh yeah, you're a reviewer and like you're cool." That's like, this is legitimately good, and I'm not trying to overstate it. Like, and I'm not also trying to like toot my own horn here. I've been working outside of YouTube and shifting lanes for the last 16 years of my life as a creative. I'm a writer for an advertising company, so I see videos literally every day of my life. This is ridiculously good. It's really, really good. Do this forever, you will be famous. Not even kidding. Also, it's just enjoyable to watch, and it's, I'm sure, enjoyable to do. Keep doing this. It's so freaking good, dude. It really is. Period.
I mean, 100%. Last thing, I mean, you sit here and Keith and I were talking yesterday about all of this. He has a really good editor who's helping him out, who's like, I mean, is professional, like compared to what we do, and everything like that.
I literally edit on my phone.
I will.
So I'm gonna need your contact information tomorrow. Thanks.
But the one thing I will sit here and say, and I have told everyone that I've helped get a channel started or who's come to ask me for help when it comes to content and all of this stuff. Great editing only gets you so far. It's a way of being that extra 5-10% that keeps the viewer there. It's that instant legitimacy. But if you are uncomfortable on camera, if you're talking out your ass, if you're filling the video with ums, likes, ahs, blah, 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 and you just come across, I don't want to say non-professional, because frankly, if you try to come across too professional, you'll end up sounding very robotic and everything like that. But the way it's presented and the way Keith presented this video is more important than like the editing and stuff like that. Trevor, welcome to the stream. You're the editor. Very well done. I knew I told Keith this last night. When I watched the video and I saw the intro, I was like, okay, this guy may have a background in film, or he has someone, or in editing, or After Effects, or any of that, or somebody is helping him. That's how good it was. So I don't.
Trevor's the hero. Screw Keith.
And I don't mean to sit here, and I'm not going to try to sit here and make it sound like, I don't want to make this sound like, we're over here glazing Keith, right? He did a phenomenal job. You guys should absolutely check out his content. I can't wait to see what his next stuff is. This stuff is literally, he could have sat here and sent me a raw video and said, hey, this is going on Donut Media 5 years ago when Donut Media wasn't a corporate entity. And they had their original hosts, because they're going
100%.
they're going the way of Hoonigan, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, that might be a topic for next week, because there's a lot to talk about around that.
Hoonigan, Donut, Car Throttle,
Yep,
all seeing this.
all of them.
And again, topic for another
Big
day.
sibs right now.
But the fact that you can bring this to it, the fact that this style of content lends itself to so many different things. You could easily do the history of certain cars just like Donut did and everything. And I'm not going to sit here and step on your toes and say you should do X, Y, and Z in content. But like, this style of video is very popular on and I don't mean just from that fact that a lot of people are doing it. I mean from people who are consuming it. You know, you look at a lot of the channels that are blowing up fast. It's very well done versions like this. So keep at it, man. Keep consistent. Trevor, keep up the good work, making your buddy look good and everything. Because, again, YouTube is a grind. It rewards consistency, something Greg and I are absolutely terrible with.
Yep, 100%.
You know, we are just...
Thanks, job.
Just go back and look at when our last long-form video was.
Oh, man. 16 years ago.
I was a wee lad.
All I can think of right now is the Titanic meme. It's been 84 years.
You know,
basically.
So, but again, before Greg had his 5 minutes to do whatever, I just wanted to put this out there. He's a frequent viewer. He's a supporter of the channel. He's, from all my interactions with him, good dude. So I want to encourage you to go out, share the shit out of his stuff, watch his stuff, comment, bring that conversation up, because the more you guys, even if it's two of you talking back and forth together, the comments going back and forth will only help. Do that to our stuff too. But
yeah. Hell yeah.
In this context, and I want to encourage each and every one of you has a tick, has a unique way of viewing the car space or space in general, to where if you guys wanted to, you can do it. You know, we are by no means the last word in content creation. However, I want to encourage all of you. If you're thinking about doing it, take the step, take the dive, go like Keith. You don't need a fancy smancy editor. And I'm not trying to
Trevor, you're good, but
Trevor
you don't.
is doing. If you have someone who can edit, it helps. If you have but I will sit here and I will tell you, if you're thinking about it, I am here to help. I am here.
This is all you need.
This is arguably one of the most powerful cameras you can carry, and you can edit on it. I personally don't, but there's a ton of free software out there, like DaVinci Resolve. You can do it all there. You can edit on these.
CapCut.
Oh, I don't want to show my notifications. Oops. But you can do it, and go for it. Sean's phone is dying. Thanks for tuning in, Sean. Appreciate you. And then lastly, Keith goes, "Hey, y'all's channel inspired us too. Love what y'all do. So grateful for the shout out. Back to car talk. I agree. Greg is going to now tell you a story about a thing with wheels and an engine. Go."
So once upon a time, there was this car, and they made it. That's it. That was the whole story. Interesting, probably last topic of the night, because it's 10:30. Chad and I are really tired. But interestingly enough, obviously behind me, V60 Polestar. Sad times, my Moose badge fell off. F in chat for Moose badge, or M in chat for sad Moose badge. I will get more. Trust me. It will be on the car later. However, over there, where you can't see, is my wife's XC90. We have been shopping for cars casually over the last maybe couple of months, just being like, what does my wife Kate want? This is getting a little long in the tooth. It's like 96,000 miles. And as we know, for anything in a luxury segment, as soon as you hit the magical 6 digits, tanks. Everything tanks. This thing as it sits, which, by the way, it's been one of the most reliable cars I've ever owned. We probably get like 13K for it, which is hilarious because it looks really good. It's one of the best looking SUVs on the market, I feel. Quite frankly, it's been rock solid. There's again, I'll say it again because I think I say it every time I talk about it. There's three things that have been wrong with this car that since we bought it 6 years ago: bad starter, bad O2 sensor, bad steering angle sensor. That's it. Other than routine maintenance, the car's been dead reliable. Such a good car. However, doesn't have a warranty anymore, and Volvos are expensive to maintain. They're in the luxury segment. It's just a fact of life. Either way, my wife is looking at another XC90 as a potential replacement, a Hyundai Palisade. But the whole reason for this story, in our neighborhood, there is a house that got redone a couple of years ago. And obviously, the family has lots of money. They have younger teenage kids that are probably in their later high school years or early college years. And I've seen Jeep Wranglers out there outside of their house. They took their house from 2 stories to 3 stories, redid their whole property. They have some cash going around, right? And good for them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Good for them. However, they now have a Ford Bronco in the driveway. There is no longer a Jeep Wrangler in the driveway. And my wife drove past it the other day and said, maybe I should get a Bronco. And I was like, now we're talking. Because that's a cool freaking car. They are not the most reliable things on earth. However, the whole reason for the replacement for the XC90 was because they wanted. My wife, Kate, wanted to get a 6-seat car because doesn't want a minivan, but wants the convenience of having to be able to like walk around the car seats into the third row if I'm driving, or I could go into the third row if she's driving, with my mother-in-law being in the front seat, 2 kids in the middle seats, and one of us in the rear, right? It's just easier. The way this thing is set up right now, you have to crawl through the trunk to get to the third row if you want to sit there. There are pass-throughs, but from the rear seats, but if you have car seats there, not boosters. Boosters are a different story. Very easy to mitigate and move around. If you have car seats, like real car seats, it's impossible to get through. You can't fold anything down. Total shit show. But they make an XC90 with 6 seats, so you don't have to have a middle seat, which is nice. Captain's chairs, great. Hyundai Palisade. She loves that car. She loves that car, or loves that SUV. It's a good SUV. We've had it on channel a bunch of times. Hanson's reviewed it. I've seen it at the New York Auto Show multiple times. I've also driven it. Kate's also driven it. It's a good, solid car, and it's a Hyundai. Say what you want about the company and their engines, but like, look, it's a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There isn't anything like it on the market. It's literally the best warranty on the market, bar none, by a country freaking mile. So, with that said, she drove by this Bronco the other day. I was like, maybe I should get a Bronco. And I'm like, ooh, that's interesting because Broncos are cool. They are off-road, and they don't have a third row, a 7-seat option. All they have is 5-seat options, basically. I think you can get a 4-seat option. Don't quote me on that, but max capacity seat-wise is 5. So I'm like, why is that? So, new wrench in the spokes for potential second car is we could end up getting a Bronco or something in that realm. And the whole reason I bring up this conversation is because the whole reason for what I just said is like, oh, 6 seats to getting to that third row, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we're going to shuttle our kids around and their friends around, whatever. But if you're a person sitting in a second row of a vehicle, right, and you have 2 car seats on either side of you, it's really, really uncomfortable. If you have 2 booster seats on either side of you, different story. There is tons of room. And obviously, if there's no booster seats, it's just a normal back seat. So, my youngest is going to be 5 in a couple weeks. His birthday is July 22nd. Mine's July 23rd. So, we're birthday buddies for life, which is really cool. But he's going to be 5 on July 22nd. As of next year, At worst case, when he's 6, he's going to be in a booster seat because the kid is long enough to be in one and he's almost heavy enough to be in one because it's all about height and weight. So once he's in a booster seat, it's kind of, do you really need a third row at that point? You know, shuttling friends around, they have parents. They can shuttle their own kids around. Do we and if one of us is driving, we have 2 cars. We can shuttle multiple kids around and do whatever. So my thing is now, what if in this, and I still have yet to talk to my wife about this. You guys are actually hearing this first before I even talk to my wife about this. What if
Bold strategy.
is there yeah, I know. Is there a scenario where Kate gets a Bronco Wrangler-ish sort of vehicle? I keep the XC90 until it dies. And I sell this thing and I get a sports car. That is an interesting proposition because I get a reliable daily driver, which I know is reliable because I currently own it. Kate gets a cool off-roading vehicle, which she'll never take off-road, but it's a cool off-roading vehicle. And I get a sports car. That is very cool. And it's something we don't have to talk about right now, but it's what's cropped up in my brain. And my brain is weird, as Chad very well knows. For the last 30 years of our friendship, my brain, stupid, very weird. But that's where my brain sort of went with this whole thing. Either way, whatever. Worst case scenario is we just sell the XC90 and get a Bronco, and I keep the Polestar. Ooh, bad news. So there's really no downside to this whole conversation that I'm bringing up because I get a daily that's, well, quite frankly, more luxurious than this, rides better than this, which is like I've said on stream many times, like I'm a very good use case for an EV because I don't take long trips. I literally drop my kids off at school and I go to the store. That's it. If I have a sports car, I have something that's cool for content, and I would take dedicated trips with it to either go on driving roads, cool things, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have a daily that would be not interesting, but like, I wonder how long I can own it before it dies. Because the SPA Volvos, or SPA Volvos, which is 2016 plus, are known for being very unreliable. That car has been super reliable. So, yeah, knock on all of the wood things. But, you know, we just took a trip to Wildwood, New Jersey. We're going to take that thing up to Maine in 4 weeks' time, too. Or not 4 weeks, sorry. 7 weeks' time. And we've taken it up to Maine the last 5 years. 0 problems. So, either way, very interesting topic to think about for the future. So, we'll see what happens with personal cars, but I feel like personal cars for me are going to be changing in some way in the next 2 months. At base minimum, my wife will get a new car, and we'll get some more random content on channel for that.
Can we Godzilla swap her car if she gets the Bronco?
No, but if I keep the XC90 and we win the lottery, I will Godzilla swap the XC90.
Probably more reliable.
For sure.
Real
Guaranteed.
quick.
Don't care.
Real quick. Number 1, Andrew, what's going on, buddy? Welcome. Number
Andrew,
2,
what's up, dude?
I missed the first part of this. So is she interested in the Wrangler Bronco, a pre-owned GX by any chance? I think...
So the 30-second version is totally had her heart set on something with 6 seats because the pass-through with kids is much easier to get to the third row if one of us has to sit back there. So Hyundai Palisade, newer XC90 with captain's chairs, both of those are great options because she knows the XC90, likes it. Hyundai Palisade, great warranty, likes the layout, likes the car, likes the SUV, period. That was the whole thing for that. Drove around our neighborhood the other day for dropping a kid off and saw the Bronco and was like, ooh, I kind of like that. So that was the whole genesis of that conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, let's face it.
Which I agree with, by the way. Broncos are freaking cool.
No, it's a.
The new ones.
Was it? It was a
awesome.
Bronco, not a Bronco Sport.
No, and that's the first thing I asked because I think in the minority. I actually like the Bronco Sport. I think it's a cool looking small SUV. If I had a choice, like if I had to buy a small SUV, like blank to my head, I would probably pick the Bronco Sport over many of the others because it's not an egg. It's like it's a decent looking small SUV for what it is. But that was my first question. And I was like, do you mean the CRV size thing or do you mean like the Wrangler? And she's like, I don't know. So I sent pictures. She's like, oh no, it's the Bronco. But no, it's the Bronco.
Okay, well, she should totally drive it because those things are way bigger in person than they are in like the way they look.
I mean,
in pictures.
look, she drives a big SUV as it is now. Like the XC90 is not a small thing.
But like the Bronco is like full size SUV size with like compact SUV interior dimensions. Like that's crazy
it's
cool. It's wide too. They're huge.
It's tall and wide. Yeah. We did a comparison actually. I actually have it still on my phone, and I know we should wrap up soon because I'm tired, you're tired, and blah blah blah. But I have a triple comparison between the Palisade, the Bronco, and the XC90, and just specifically for what you said. So the width of the car, right? So height is pretty similar. Bronco's higher. Palisade 69 inches, nice. Bronco 73 inches, and XC90 69.9 inches. So all fairly close. Bronco being a couple inches taller, right? So width of the car. Where's the width? Overall width with mirrors. The Palisade and XC90, there's nothing listed for the Palisade, but it's basically the XC90. They're very similar.
Did you get the
And the
Telluride?
XC90 is 84.3. I mean, no. I tried to pitch the Telluride. I think it's a better looking SUV, but it's definitely not as luxurious inside for sure in any trim. And the Palisade looks more luxurious on the outside too. She also prefers the look, which, look, I'm not going to argue with that. I agree with that. I think it's
if
better
it's the same,
looking and
you take the one you like, right? Like,
right, exactly. So
I mean, you could
she
put
likes
her
the Palisade.
in a great car.
Their sister car is fine. Whatever, that's fine. But the width, overall width with mirrors, XC90 84.3 inches. I would imagine the Palisade is very similar, so probably 84, 85. Bronco 86.2. So length is different. Width is harder to gauge sometimes, even though you're like right on the driver's seat. And our XC90 is really close to our garage doors, like
that's
within an inch or two. So I don't know if the Bronco would fit width-wise. Length-wise, totally. It's shorter. It's shorter than the XC90 for sure. But width-wise, it'd be really close. You'd be coming within like a centimeter on each side, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, look, out of all the cars you mentioned, she'd be the coolest mom I know if she got a Bronco.
Definitely. 100%. I agree.
I also know.
And Doug, by the way, you're right. XC90 has an excellent turning radius for a front-wheel drive bias, transversely mounted engined car. Probably one of the best I've ever
Volvo,
driven.
Full stop.
Yeah. Volvos aren't known for their turning radii. The XC90 is very good at that.
But like, if it were me, be like, yeah, Bronco, 100% easy answer. Next question.
Yeah. I mean, same.
But you guys
As
are
a car enthusiast, like Bronco's the one.
But you guys are also not a tall family.
No, I'm the tallest in my family, and I'm 5'6" on a good day after I've slept a long time.
Yeah, so you guys have waved goodbye to those basketball scholarships paying for your kids' college tuition.
Hey, Muggsy Bogues was 5'2". You shut up.
Yes. And where are the 5-foot-something guys in the NBA right now? Oh, actually NCAA. So you got what, 300 and some odd opportunities for a full ride? I digress. My whole thing is like, are you going to have one of those like automatically unfurling rope ladders for her to get into the car. And not
Yeah.
for nothing
That's why they made the grab handles.
getting the kids in and out of the car would be my only concerns there.
They can climb in themselves now, which is cool. And as long as there's grab handles, which the Bronco is full of, like they can get themselves in and out of the XC90 just fine.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, there's not a huge difference of ground clearance. It's like 7.9 versus 8.4.
Right.
So it's not that big of a difference.
I mean, yes, but also the ingress, like
Ingress and egress are different.
body on
Yeah.
frame versus unibody. The unibody,
Yeah, it's different.
regardless. Look, do I want her to get the Bronco? Yes. Will I advocate for her to get the Bronco if she asks? Or even if she doesn't ask? Like, if I just see her tomorrow, I'll be like, hey, Kate, how's it doing? Blah, 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 blah. Get the Bronco.
Very Chandler Bing of you. Yes, agree.
All of that sort of stuff. So, look, what I'm taking from this is why not have that be the plan regardless of what she gets? Because the Broncos aren't necessarily an inexpensive option. I got to imagine pricing, they're pretty similar to like a brand new Palisade or like.
No, brand new Palisade more expensive. I mean, look, we would look used, probably 2021, 2022, no matter the model. The budget is like 45K max.
Right. But the point I'm making
you're talking
is
used
like,
regardless.
if that's your budget, why not have? Let me ask you this question: what would fetch more money for you, whether it be trade-in or private sale? The the V60 or the XC?
Oh, well, the V60 by almost triple.
Okay, so why not do the same thing you said? Whether it replace Bronco with whatever the F she gets, because in theory, price will be the same, roughly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's one less thing for you to be concerned with. Now, would it be cool if you went out and was like, sold basic? I mean, it's blasphemy to everyone who knows you for you to sell both Volvos and get not Volvos.
Still have two 240s.
Yeah, until I see one of those running up and down your street, I don't count them.
True. True.
As much as I want either of them to be finished, selfishly, I want the one that's been, 2 to
forever,
17 to millennia in the making. As I'd want that to be finished, but like, yes, having those finished, but if the plan is if you just daily the XC, I mean, it's always going to be more efficient / environmentally kind to keep the car you have.
True.
Right.
True.
Why not just that be the plan? So Kate, I'm sorry, your wife's new car. I apologize if I keep using her first name and you're trying to keep that out.
No, I said it like 8 times.
Okay. So Jennifer,
Katifer.
if I just start referring to your wife as Jennifer, and then she comes back, who the fuck is?
I'm like, well, who's Chad talking about? I was like, don't worry about it.
That's you. Is it?
Go watch the stream, please, for the love of God.
Just gonna be like, so how's Jennifer? Like, catch you in a moment of just like not thinking, and just be like, how Jennifer, and you just put 2 and 2. Oh, blah, blah, blah. At any rate, just do that. Like, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool. So, what would you get for the XC? Just out of curiosity.
Excuse me. I think it's like between 13 and 15, basically.
All right, but like, instead of going out and getting a $13,000 to $15,000 replacement for it, and then getting the sports car with whatever money you have saved plus the stars of the poll, yeah, keep it simple. KISS method here, man. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, yeah.
You have that car. Is the XC paid off?
Yeah, both cars are paid off.
Okay. That's a known quantity. And
right.
I mean, That's the route I would kind of take, like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Because let's face it, if you were to sell both, you would either compromise sports car budget to get something newer, more reliable, like let's say a GX, a Lexus GX or something, right?
Yeah. Oh, so to cut you off, sorry. There's no scenario that I put forward that where I would be selling both.
Okay. So
So
one
I'd
of those
say
two cars would be your
one
daily.
scenario is, yeah, one scenario is Kate just replaces the XC. I keep the Polestar. She just gets a new car. The end. The other scenario is I get the XC as a daily. She gets a new car. I sell the Polestar. We use some of that money for both her car and then a sports car. And I daily the XC90. She gets a Bronco, and I get an F-Type. Whatever. Like that, just the random cars.
Suck it, Mother Earth.
But like, right.
Ah.
but that those are like the two scenarios I threw out. So
Okay.
I don't know. We'll talk about it and kind of figure out what's going on. Worst case scenario is my wife gets a car that's interesting, because the Palisade is interesting because a lot of people have said that there is a engine problem with those.
I wouldn't call that
The other side of that is from a content perspective, though, the Palisade, for all of the content we've produced across the board over the last 4 years, Palisade content is by a country freaking mile better on CPM than everything else we've produced. And I don't know why. I think it's because Hyundai is just like, hey, there's another one. Send money there. But that's my guess. But
yeah,
like,
I mean,
the stuff, it's
look,
super
we've all
weird.
done
But either way, like it's we get
Yeah.
new vehicles to make content on, regardless, which is not a bad thing.
yeah, I mean, I think the end goal here is whatever facilitates you getting the sports car you want. I don't want to see you in a situation, and like Doug suggests, why not sell the Polestar, buy a V60R design,
Yeah.
use the difference.
I just saw that.
Money
Not a
towards the
bad,
sports car.
not a bad suggestion.
It's like everything else.
It's like
Greg has
15
a
grand
Greg has
basically
a
right there.
bucket. At the top of the bucket is him with a sports car and a daily driver. Whatever it takes to
Yeah.
fill that bucket, and it could be a multitude of different
down.
options, right? Like, it's those constantly changing variables. As long as the ending of the equation equals that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, I want to see you in that sports car that you want. I don't want you to sit here and say like, well, I got the Jaguar F-Type base or something, like where you compromise or
Right.
or you get something and there's a compromise and that's kind of what you have to live with, versus like say that the base F-Types have a stronger V8 than the R's, so you slap a supercharger on that and make more power, like, right? Like, I want you to end up with with what you want within reason, right? Like, I'm sure I'm sure you want like a fully loaded Aston Martin blah 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 2-door, but it's just not reasonable context wise with the price, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
agree.
whatever we go there. I personally I like holding on to what you have and what you know and what your, most importantly, what your mechanic knows.
Yeah, agreed.
Versus going out there and, like, let's just say hypothetically, the daily option is an old 4Runner. Are they reliable? Yes. Is it a known quantity? No. Is that a bit of a risk? Because, like, the worst case scenario, right, is you go out, you get this, and like 2 months after, you're like, okay, time to get the sports car. Why am I spending so much money on this other car to fix it? Right? And I'm not saying that can't happen with the Volvo or the XC90. What I'm saying is, it's like, hey, you know that person who's been driving it for the last 50,000 miles? I know them. They're a pretty decent person.
It's me. Yeah.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
but
So homework for next time, if you're watching, what do you think I should do? That's the homework for next time. And I think that's a good place to wrap.
yes. What should Greg do? Because the known quantity or the known variable, the constant of this equation, if you will, is Greg's wife is getting a new car.
Yep.
What does Greg do?
What do I do? Yeah. Oh, and last thing, turning ratio on is Turning ratio is better on the Lexus ES350 than it is on the P2 Volvo S80. Yes, agree. Mostly because that's a rear-wheel drive car, compared to a P2 Volvo S80, which is a front-wheel drive car, I
Also,
believe,
and Volvo
or all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive bias. And also, funny thing, that's the whole reason I was mentioning this is, one, thank you for Andrew for the comment. Two, the Lexus ES is one of the platforms I looked at as a potential daily driver alternate, because there's a ton of them out there with low miles and they're worth nothing. But I'm just like, that with cool wheels and a 1.5 inch lowering kit would look awesome, and it would last until the friggin' apocalypse, because that's a Lexus ES, and with 50,000 miles, it has another 800,000 miles in it, and it looks awesome.
yeah. Doug, to your comment, the Iowa class battleships have a better turning radius than a P2 Volvo.
Accurate.
Probably. Also, if you're a fan of the Iowa class, look up the temper incident with the USS Wisconsin. And on that note, thank you to everyone who's watched, liked, shared, etc. This concludes another highly successful Shifting Lanes Garage podcast.
Yes.
We will see you guys next week when hopefully Greg has at least buffed out that horrible ghost of stickers past on his PD or V60 Polestar.
Nah, it'll still be there.
But for this show, that's